Hi, welcome to Allergydragon's Lair. My name is Martha. I'm an allergy chef and food, well, especially an allergy chef. I don't know why I have the hardest time when I'm doing Allergydragon's Lair to say my title, but anyway, I do. We are joined today. We are live on Facebook, and if you are watching the rerun on this on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, like, comment below, and Facebook, definitely send us your questions. So first disclaimer is obviously a legal disclaimer really quickly before we get into the show, and that is all the opinions here are obviously our opinions and the opinions of our guests. These are not meant to replace your doctor's advice for health. This is just our personal experiences, and we like to share them. If you have any questions, please let us know. And remember, listen to your healthcare providers. Okay, now that that's over with. Okay, I'm joined today. This is our 7th episode. This is our first, our first guest is reappearing. Woohoo. So today's episode is all about dealing with food allergies, in this case, 33 food allergies, and that are very severe, celiac disease, and going to college, and all that good stuff. So we have our special guest, which is Vesper Morgan, my youngest kiddo, who made me an allergy mom. And then, of course, my celiac sister, my literal celiac sister, new contributor on the blog. Woo! If you have not seen her blog, you need to go check it out at Cindy's Corner. So this is my sister Cindy down below on my screen if you're watching it on Facebook. If not, you're probably not seeing her yet because of how I film it for YouTube. Sorry, I had to scratch my nose. Okay, so Cindy is going to be doing a lot of the talking this time. I know people are not used to me doing, but we're kind of getting interviewed. So we have community questions that were sent in from the Allergydragon community. And if you have any questions, please remember that there is a little bit of a lag. And so I will be paying attention to Facebook, so I may have to interrupt it from time to time. So I will let you know. So I'm going to hand this over to Cindy and Vesper. Yay, thank you for coming, Vesper.
Okay. Most people just want to see my cat.
Probably. Take it away, Cindy.
Unless he tries to take off my internet. So
yeah, that's not good. Not good.
So the community had really interesting questions. So we're first going to start with Mom, your mother, Vesper, and ask her, how did you help Vesper pick a college and set up their needs at a college?
Okay, well, as far as picking a college, I think it has to do with they're the ones going to college. They're the ones that are, your child is the one that's going to college. They have to like where they're going to go. Yes, you're going to be providing money and you want to make sure that they, you're thinking about things that they're not thinking about. But I think it's a big deciding factor is to make sure that they like the college. And then in Vesper's case, they were very, as far as classes and things like that, that was all them, because I'm not going to be living their life. I'm not going to be going to school for them. They need to be able to want to go where they're going to go. So as far as the food stuff, that was more where my concern was, and making sure that things are right. And I probably pulled back a little less than I should have, hindsight 2020. I did try to more guide versus doing, because they are 18 years of age when they were getting things together. They're an adult. So it's like, I want them to do this completely. This is what we've been training for.
This is go time. Run the plan. Plan A.
Yeah, I didn't realize how that sounded until I said it. Yeah, this is not a drill. This is not a drill.
Mayday, plan college.
Okay, so yeah, we can laugh about it now, but I do think that hindsight, I really wish I had followed up a little bit more, other than just saying stuff. But then also, the kids start to get really annoyed with you if you're constantly saying, did you do this? Did you? Yes, Mom, I did. Yes, Mom, I did. Yes, I did. I know, Mom, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Okay, so hindsight, I kind of feel like, even though I was getting yes, Mom, I did. Yes, Mom, I did. I feel like I should have been like, let me see it. And see that it's been done. Just because we had some hiccups that I think I may have been able to foresee coming. And then I know that there's things that they probably haven't even told me about that we're going to learn about tonight. all of us together because I know my kid pretty well.
I have no idea. I would never surprise you with anything.
And that is a lie, but okay. But yeah, because college is a learning experience for both mother and child. We were lucky though in the aspect that I felt like I could trust Vesper. But then at the same time, just remember, parents, they're still at a high risk behavior, and their brain starts to like go at times, and they do things that you never thought they would ever do. Okay. I may go into that story later, if depending on time. I like one of the moments of where they texted me versus talking to me about something that they did, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" But this kid always has their EpiPens. I mean, this is not the kid that runs without their EpiPens. Wants to make sure they have it. So I'm supposed to say I'm very specific. Has had the same friend group. Didn't start dating until very late in high school. Took their life very seriously. You know, the risk-taking factors were not there. So I guess they decided it's college. Let me be a little bit risky at times. And it's like, what? You know, but not falling down. I mean, it's not like the normal stuff that kids would be like, let me go get falling down drunk or things like that. No, they didn't do that stuff. It was more like some risky behavior with food that, you know, I questioned about. But thankfully, they're okay. And I think I kind of answered that without giving away too much or anything, but yeah, I have some hindsight on that, and that is just, but I think that you do need to make sure that your kid wants to go there and that they feel safe. If they don't feel safe, then they're not going to get a good education and they're not going to want to go to school. So what's the point? Okay.
That was good, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you. I was like, thank you.
Vesper, do you really have to keep a PDF of your allergies? And what are your allergies?
Yeah, I do keep a PDF. I remember I had it in my first phone that I actually wrote it, and then my phone died, and then I got a new phone. I was like, hey Mom, you have a backup copy. Hey, can you transfer me my PDF of allergies? Because I don't want to write all of it again. So yeah, I normally keep it on me. I don't use it very often. It's in like the notes section of my phone. And it's literally labeled like food allergies, and it's like pinned to the top. I normally don't have to use it unless it's like school stuff is mostly why I have it. For like dining hall stuff, or like if I get asked on the occasion and feel like sharing, I'll just be like, here you go.
Can I
Yes,
add
Mom.
something?
What?
Okay, thank you. Okay, or you want to have an argument with your mother because they forgot one of their allergens and it was just they thought they just disliked it, but it was actually an allergen as well.
Yes. It comes in many uses.
I guess it's helpful to be able to dislike an allergen.
It is very helpful, but
Yeah.
but it's also like you need to know that that's an allergen. You can't eat that, you know. But anyway, yeah, I keep a PDF too, and that's because we all forget. I mean, think about it. It's 33. Okay, I'm done.
Who all does have that PDF? I know I don't, so I'm just curious.
Pretty much me and Mom.
Yeah, I share it though with whoever wants it. Like I gave it to you all when we did the memorial thing. That was, I think I gave you.
You gave us the
small list of do not bring in.
Yeah, the do not bring in.
Yes.
Do not have it in the place what we get. Okay.
Yeah, I did the smaller version. Sorry.
Well, okay, since they did ask what are your allergies, why don't you kind of share, because it's 33, we would be taking up a lot of minutes. What do you think is probably the most unlikely allergy that most people would not be, not think about it, that you think out of all your 33 allergies? Maybe give me the top 3 that were just like, what?
I mean, I have a lot of fruits and vegetables, so those are kind of like offhand where people are like, you can be allergic to those. I know like garlic sucks the worst because people put it in everything because they're like, oh my god, it's so good. Which I agree, it's awesome, but it's like one of my top like worst allergies, so I'm like, yeah, like I'll just stick to like smelling it or something.
Yeah, garlic. Was it ginger too? Ginger's an issue for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot and it like changes a lot, so What I can tell you now will probably be different later.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Okay, Vesper, how in the world did you find a college that could accommodate your list of dietary needs, and how did it work?
So I think most of it was pretty much luck. That I just so happened. I can say the name of my college, right, Mother? We've already shared that online, right?
Yes, we have shared it and you were fine to do that. Yes.
I'm not slandering my college. I like.
No, you're not. You love
We're
your college. And I love Chef Andrew. Okay, there, I'm putting it out there.
That is weird sentence. Anyway, I'm also wearing a Hanover Drag Kings and Queens. So woo,
Yeah.
on topic. But so I go to Hanover College, and before I didn't want to apply there because I was like, oh, it just seems like, another, this is gonna sound snobby, like another one of the liberal arts colleges that are small, and it's like wasn't really on my radar. But the person who was helping me with all my college stuff was like, you should apply there because you need to apply to more colleges, and I think this one would be a good fit. And then they were one of the few schools I actually went to go meet in person. The only other place I went to was Earlham, which was also like, they were pretty neck and neck. So my accommodations for it are pretty much, I have like Chef Andrew's number. That way I can like text him and be like, hey, I'm coming down for dinner. Can you make me this or surprise me with whatever? Because they have like all my allergens back there, so I don't have to worry about it. And the entire time I had went there, I had not had a single reaction from anything they had made me. The only times were the few times when I was like, oh, I forgot to order food. I'll just grab something off the line. And then it's like, oh, that's my fault.
Oh,
so
so
I've
we
never
made
had a problem with anything
so we
they've
made
made
bad
me.
decisions, huh?
Yes,
We made
sometimes
bad decisions. Yeah.
we make bad decisions. Live and learn, kiddo.
Yeah.
After that, I did not grab anything off the line again.
Okay.
I have a question about, and it says, how did it work? How did it deal with, like, because your biggest allergy is fish. So how did you work those days when they had fish?
Oh yeah. So normally I'd have them make me food, and we have like to-go boxes that are like these plastic green containers that you actually like bring back and never use them to wash them. So pretty much I'd have them put it in there, and I'd have a friend go in and get it. We're working on a new system this year, that way I don't have to have a friend there to go get it. They can just like, I could either grab it like before, because they have fish every Friday and sometimes during the week, but normally they post the meal schedule out beforehand and it doesn't get changed, especially like without any notice. So I normally have the food schedule, so I know like what days I can't go into the cafeteria, and then normally put it out like 2 weeks in advance, so I know. So pretty much just staying top on like checking that, and then making sure like I actually order my food and get it to me.
Cool.
That's really neat that they do to-go boxes that they collect back, that they're not doing like disposable stuff, which is really surprising. How is their, so with that said, how good is their sanitary system that they have in place? Did you ever that?
I'd say it's really good. They have a lot of dishwashers, and a lot of them are going to be students. But we just put it on like this little carousel that like goes around to the back where the dishwashers are, and then they go and do that. I haven't had a problem with any of like their dishes or anything. I mean, everything's pretty sanitary. We only use like reusable stuff like that pretty much. Yeah, I can't say I've had any problems with any of their items.
Okay, that's good. Okay, next question. What was your biggest challenge with your allergies and going to college?
I think like figuring out what accommodations I need. And then like surprise problems coming up pretty much. So because I'm like my fish allergy, and like I can't have those food items in my dorm, I just went ahead and had like a single dorm. So So I have a medically accommodated single, so I don't have a roommate or anything like that. That way I don't have to worry about anybody like bringing in food that I can't have, because it's kind of unreasonable for somebody else to be expected to like memorize those allergens and not bring it in. And then other random things is like I had my first reaction where I had to go to the ER since I was 4. So it was my first time ever having to like use my EpiPen, and then definitely getting there and having like issues with the doctors, just because it's like a campus in the middle of kind of nowhere.
Yeah, why don't you break down your first allergic reaction, anaphylactic reaction, like, because you had like even the where you got it later on as well. So like bring it, if you could break it down, like how did you feel about it? Like how everything went.
Yeah, so I decided I'd skipped breakfast that morning. So I was like, I'll just drink some Keurig coffee. And I was like, oh, I have flavored ones down here. I was like, I'll have one of those, even though I've had a reaction before. I was like, but this one's a different brand, different flavor. Because the one I had beforehand that was a reaction was like toffee creamer and stuff. And I was like, maybe it had nuts in it. Okay, because it's like coffee and that kind of thing. This one was just like vanilla. And I was gone. So I like had a little bit of trouble breathing and stuff, and my face was like a little bit swollen. So I called my mother, as you do when you're panicked and in college, and it's like, hey, do you think I have to go to the ER? And she's like, well, do what you got to do. She's like, figure it out for yourself. So I was like, okay, I think I'll be fine. So then I was sitting and talking to my friends, and they were just like, hey, I think you need to go to the ER if you're having trouble breathing. And I was like, okay. So then my friend gave me my EpiPen because I was too scared, because I thought it was really gonna hurt. It does not. So then we went to the ER, and I had wonderful like people there the first time, but then like after they gave me all my stuff on my IV, so they didn't give me anything to like swallow or anything like that. I had started vomiting everywhere. So I started vomiting all over the floor, and then they came and like cleaned it up and all that stuff. And then she was like, so how are you feeling? I was like, I'm feeling better. I was like, but I'm like vomiting all over the place. And she was like, okay, we'll give you your discharge papers and you can go home in about 10 minutes. Like, okay. And I was like so sleep deprived because I was like a bunch of Benadryl in my system. So then we went home, back to like my dorm, obviously. And later that night, because we got out of the first visit about 7 p.m. and then I started having a reaction and ended up going back about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. So I was like very tired, plus I had like all the Benadryl in my system, so very, very exhausted and like not with it. So I had one of my friends with me, and he drove me down there and he stayed in the room with me. And then the nurse came in, and the first thing she says is like, so you know that ER visits are really expensive, right? And I'm just like, now I'm here for fun. Like, what? And then she said some other like offhand stuff that was weird. Like she wouldn't let me finish doing like the history of like the meds they gave me beforehand. So she like cut me off and then ended up leaving the room. Because I like could not think straight, and I was like pulling the paper out of my purse that had the list of like what all they did before. Because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to think. I'll bring this paper with me. So then she leaves, the doctor comes in, he like pulls down my mask. Like he grabs it and flips it down, and then he like looks at my throat. He's like, yeah, it just seems like you're having some like a little bit of a reaction after the first reaction. He's like, but did they tell you to like take a Benadryl when you got home? And I was like, no, they just told me to do it in the morning when I get the rest of my meds. And he's like, okay, so we're just gonna give you a Benadryl, and then you need to take a Zyrtec and a Benadryl literally every day since you have that many allergies. So we're gonna give you a Benadryl, and then you're gonna go home. And then I was like, okay, well, can I just go home and take a Benadryl at home? I was like, there's no point in me being here for you to just give me a Benadryl to swallow. And then he said no, and then I got the Benadryl and I left.
You said it much nicer than you did the first time.
Well, she's being a little PG.
Yeah, a
so.
little PG. Yeah.
I was very angry after I was like much more with it. And was
Yeah.
like, oh no, that was crappy.
And yeah, next time you need a little bit more of a vocal friend with you. Yeah. Because when you're out of it, you don't think straight. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you need to have somebody who's an advocate for you when you're in that situation. And yeah, the doctor, yeah, you could have left, and you have to be able to leave without, not taking something. And you can just tell them, you know what, that's going to cost my mom. You just told me about how expensive this ER is. That medicine cost your mom. So it's like stupid, just stupid stuff. Oh, go home and take a Benadryl. Come on.
Yeah, and you were following the previous doctor's orders, which is if you're having more trouble and you're having trouble breathing, you're supposed to give yourself an
come back,
EpiPen
yeah.
and then come back. But I think you also said at one point that the second visit, correct me if I'm wrong, I may be remembering this wrong, that the second visit, the ER doctor actually said that you should have waited longer to give yourself an EpiPen.
Yeah. He
Okay.
told me I just panicked and gave myself an EpiPen, even though I had already waited 2 hours, or like I think it was like an hour or two before like giving myself, because I was like, is this just anxiety or another reaction? We'll find out.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is with reactions, and it may sound cold with me saying like on the phone, I was like, I don't know, you need to figure this out, like, because like you don't want them to second guess themselves because it is an anxiety thing. And the longer you wait, the worse it can be your reaction. So you want to give yourself the EpiPen. And the biggest thing is give yourself the EpiPen. And if you feel better immediately, you did the right thing and you need to get to where you need to go. And you feel bad enough that it doesn't hurt when you give yourself an EpiPen because you feel that crappy. So, but
It
yeah,
doesn't hurt till much later.
Yeah, it does later. You get like a bruise. So.
Oh, it is like, I was like asleep after I'd given myself the first EpiPen, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was like the worst pain, and it was like a cramp, like my muscle was like really tight, and like I couldn't even have like my pants on because it would like hurt to have anything near it, and I was just like, but it goes away like after like 30 minutes, but it's like awful.
Yeah, that was not fun for you to experience, or me. Only an hour away, but I wasn't there for the 3 o'clock in the morning when I woke up to it at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to all these messages of going back to the hospital and then the jerks that they are. And so.
And then was like, I'm back. Good night.
I'm just glad that everything worked out good and you're fine.
Yeah, that you were okay. That was the biggest part. Okay, so we have a final question. That's loaded, man. That's a loaded question. What do you wish you had done differently, and what are your plans for next year? Those 2 parts.
Whoa, the big question.
Oh, wait a minute. We have an actual comment. I'm sorry, it's Jane. By law, they cannot talk to you about the cost, and yes, you can leave without taking any meds. She was just saying that. So that's Aunt Jane.
I thought you could. That's because I'm like,
yeah, I know you can. I was just like so out of it that I was just like,
right. That's again that one of those things where you need to have a buddy at school that you can you be my advocate?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because it popped up finally. So
yeah.
Go on.
All right, so I think first things is like making sure I have definitely an advocate on campus, like a friend that I can sign, like, hey, if I ever have to go to the ER, could you like take me there, like come with me or something like that. And then also I think making sure I have all my accommodations in place. Not just for like my food allergies and just like rooming and stuff, but also like academic ones for like if I have to miss classes because I accidentally ingested something. And then also just having ones for like mental disabilities and all that other kind of stuff. So definitely making sure I have like all my accommodations like in order, pretty much.
Yeah, your IEP or 504 plan, however you want to look at it, needs to be in place because what food allergies themselves is technically a disability. Plus, then we have learning disabilities in there, even though and learning disabilities happen to us that are extremely intelligent too. So it's how you learn, not your intelligence, people. Oh, and Aunt Jane said, or call your aunt on speaker. Okay.
I'll make sure next time I go to the ER at 3 a.m, high off a Benadryl, I'll be like, hey, call Jane.
Okay. So anyway, you were saying, I'm sorry, anything else for your plans that you want to do differently or better next year?
I feel like that's like the main one, and then also just making sure taking care of like mental health and all that other fun stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much looking forward to going back next year.
That's good. I think you had said something too, just maybe you forgot about, also trying to come up with a new plan for getting food on the weekend or something easier for you, because that was an
on
issue
days
or
that
something.
we had fish, seeing about like getting like a better system where I can get my food like ahead of time, or like before those days that I can just warm up in my dorm. That way I don't have to focus like so much on having to go to the grocery store because it's like 30 minutes away, or like keeping food stocked up in my dorm and making my own food because I pay for a meal plan for a reason. So use it. And then plans for next year. Pretty much going back with like better mental health now.
Better mental health with better plans.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. You figured out what didn't work.
Yeah, getting stuff like better in order this time.
That's what college is about. It's about falling on your face a little bit and get, learning, adulthood. It's fun.
The good old fashioned hard way.
We don't have anything else coming through on Facebook right now. So anything question wise that you can think of, Cindy, you want to add on?
I don't think so. I think everything was pretty much covered.
Okay. I will ask Vesper, what was the name of it? Like, because it's different in each school setting. Because we went through some of the fairs and some of FACT's college programs that they have out there, and I'll link those below, like some things that can help parents that are trying to help their kids and teens. And Safar has some things out there for college kids and teenagers trying to get ready for go to college and that kind of thing. Not all colleges, are the same. And I actually asked for help. I watched all these things because they're great resources, but then I actually contacted some of my resources, which, Grateful Foodie is one of them. So Caroline, I talked to her. She has 2 kids with food allergies, and one had already gone through college. And I was like, what do we do here? And they had some really great pearls of wisdom. Obviously, I, as a parent, if you have any questions, holler at us, message us. If there's anything, but I think that there's no one size fits all because all of our allergies are a little bit different. So what plan works for you and that kind of thing. So I think keeping an open mind, but the question I wanted to ask Vesper was, I know it's called different things, but like IEPs, but it's kind of, you go through the same system. It's not just going through the cafeteria or the people that are feeding you to get these accommodations, right?
You normally, no matter what kind of accommodation is, it's going to be going through like whoever runs the accommodations department. So that's going to be everything for like your housing, if they need to get you in contact with food and that kind of stuff. I believe you'll also go through there. And then anything academically, it's all going to go through the same system pretty much.
So basically, if you have a disability, which food, another thing to think about, you may not need accommodations for academics, but you may need accommodations for your food allergies, and those are disabilities. So you have to pretty much usually go through that system and then reach out from there, because you have to have paperwork and everything on your side for it.
Get that documentation.
So what are you doing? This is an interesting question. Okay. Marty, what are you doing differently this year for her going back to school?
For them going back to school, I have had a lot of I told you so moments, and not in a good way. Like, it's not me going, I told you so, but it was like, I think we had a conversation about this before you went to college. And yes, we did. And no, I didn't follow through. And it's just, I think in a way, not trying to rub their nose in what they did wrong, but making them account for what they did wrong and account for the fact that you were guided that way, but you just didn't completely follow through. And so for them to learn their shortcomings, because we all have shortcomings. So for you to learn your shortcomings and realize this is something I need to stay on top of, this is something I need to do, that going from here from college, that then when I have to use this skill for when I go to work and I'm working in the corporate world, I'm going to need to use these same things to advocate for myself in a more professional way. So I think it's a way of making them show accountability for their actions, and so they don't make the same mistakes again next year, but also being not so in your face and rubbing it in, like, oh, you made a mistake, but so that they're comfortable to come to you and tell you that they made a mistake, or how do I fix this? You have to have the open communication with your kid, that they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to say the thing because we're doing good on time, like that they're going to text you and say, instead of doing an oral challenge, they decided to do their own oral challenge and eat a whole egg. That child
The
did that.
redneck version.
Yeah. That is not recommended. They texted me it. They were like,
As
I
a
didn't
person who
die.
had done it, don't do it.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, they still can't eat eggs, but they didn't die. So that was basically what we learned from that. Okay.
I didn't go to the hospital either.
Again, do not follow this child's
I
advice
wouldn't
in that
recommend it, but I
Thank
didn't go
you.
to the hospital.
That's true. So these
I was in a
things,
lot of pain though.
thank God they're fine. But they had the sense, because they know me, they were going to tell me. They texted it to me because they knew.
After I was okay.
After they were okay, after they had done it, and all the situation was, and this is before they had their anaphylactic reaction, by the way. Okay, just saying. So they did, because egg has been a reaction for them, but not a severe. And let's reiterate the fact that if you're an allergy mom, or you're a new allergy mom, whatever, or you're just new to allergies themselves, just because you had a minimal reaction one time, or what they call less severe reaction, does not mean that that's going to dictate it every single time. They can get worse, and unfortunately they can get a lot better as you're growing. Unfortunately, when you start to hit a certain age, less likelihood of them going away and them actually becoming more severe actually is a little bit higher, unless you're like going through challenges and you're going through the OITs. Okay, those are therapies. There's no cure to food allergies yet. Don't think. I hope there will be at some point, but there's no cure. So anyway, talking about risky behavior, things like that, this is something that I would never have imagined that child, that one right there, ever doing, or having a text of, Mom ate a whole egg, but I'm fine, didn't die. And I was just like, so
Pretty much exact
me,
wording too, guys.
Yeah,
like you're not even getting the shortcut of that one.
no, that was it. It didn't die. So I knew that they were 100% okay, because that was totally something they would say. Didn't die. I'm okay. Didn't die. So they were smart enough, because I was at work too, and they were okay. So they texted it to me, and then I think it was probably, I don't know, 5, 6 different I don't know how many more texts, because Mom let it all loose in the text because I couldn't talk, but I had to get it out.
Mom's like, this can't wait. You got to go now.
So it was like, oh my gosh, and it just, don't do these unsafe behaviors.
And knowing better, that I shouldn't be doing these unsafe behaviors and risk putting myself at risk. Believe me, I want that peanut butter so bad. It's not funny, but every reaction has gotten worse as I've gotten older. So putting yourself at risk, I know it's hard, I think, especially going to college. And I think it's challenging to want to, you're going through a new phase of life, and you're going to go through many phases of your life. And you just have to really think about putting yourself in those risks and wanting to protect yourself, because the education is more important than becoming that person on the other side who's like gotten worldly, like, I can go to college with 33 allergies and celiac disease, and I made it. I lived through it. Because that has got to be challenging just from me going to college and how challenging and a different world that was at. And I just can't imagine. And I was probably getting exposure to things I had no clue about till later on in life. So it's good to hear, though, that it's good to see that some of that has changed, though. And I don't think we would have had that so many years ago when I was at college. It would have been very challenging for a person. Couldn't imagine somebody walking in at a school where I went to college in Campbellsville, and they had old country cooks that, I mean, good Lord, bacon went into everything. It would killed Will right now. So,
Yeah, seriously. Aunt Jane
yeah.
did say that sounds like a smidge of Aunt Jane. Yeah, a little bit of stubbornness, just like a wild hair up their butt. And luckily they're not going to repeat it, because I think that was just like, I don't know what caused it, but I am glad that they don't have the severe anxiety to the point that they can't eat, which we went through.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad I'm glad they're not there. I just was like, whoa, that was too much, too much, too much.
Mom's like, you're too far on the other end, please.
Yeah, I mean, you could have said, there's no way I can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely that I just can't imagine it. I mean, not that many food allergies, like, and taking that risk. And I'm like going, wow, that is challenging. And I'm glad you're still here with us with all the risky business and things you learned last year, and looking forward to next year being much more successful and less problems. And it sounds like you got a great plan in place, and really proud of you. As Gabby would say, good girl.
And Gabby is your granddaughter. So just for those who don't know. Anyway, that is the granddaughter.
Yes.
That is one of the granddaughters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very proud of you too. I've told them that though repeatedly, but
Oh,
yeah,
I know you do. You're a good mom.
Sometimes I have a moment. How am I, Vesper? Decent? Fair?
Yes, very.
Fair?
I'd say at least like 50%.
50-50? Like 50? I don't even get 75? Man, harsh judgment.
55.
55. Well, hey, that's
So
better.
at least you're more so on one side.
That's true. Hey, it's a little bit better on one side than the other. Okay, well, I guess we will wrap up. Vesper, do you have words of wisdom that you would like to share with anybody, or anything with college, or going back, or living your life with 33 food allergies and celiac disease?
Not very much right now.
Nope, you shared it
Probably
all.
if I do, it'll probably be later on. Might try to do videos before I go back. We'll see what happens.
Okay, we'll see. We're not gonna make any promises there.
And yeah, we're not gonna make any promises there.
My words of wisdom to the mothers is to be open-minded when they make mistakes, whether it's purposefully done or not purposely done, when they don't read the label, or they ignore the fact that it may contain, or processed around with those K cups and those flavored coffees, or deciding to eat a whole egg. Hopefully you don't have those issues, or if they get fallen down drunk or whatever. I mean, luckily that's not been a thing for us. Overall, the things that have been done, like I said, risky behavior is part of growing up. Your brain is still maturing. You're in these situations. My mom always said that you teach a child right from wrong and then pray that it sticks. And that couldn't be more correct. So we try to teach them right and wrong, and also to value their lives and other people's lives, and be their own advocate. So much more so than what we teach every kid that, I think, to a certain degree. But when you have food allergies or any health issue, you have to be more so on it. Okay, and Cindy, do you have any words of wisdom as being an aunt that that has had a niece who has, anyway, having being the aunt, do you have any words of wisdom? I can't talk.
Being an aunt, I think you just try to you worry about them all the time. And I haven't lived that closely with Vesper, and being around her all the time. But you know, when she goes off, I'm just always like, you pray for them and you hope for them and you wish them the very best, and that you're hoping that they're making great decisions. And that is through the entire process. I've had other nieces go, and always pray that they're making great, and nephews go just off to college, and you hope that they're making the right decisions. And that's how you can be hopeful. But you also want to be that person that if they need you, they can call and you're going to be there for them, and you're not going to kill them. So
yeah. You got to be the open-minded one. With that being said, at one point Vesper had a very, very thought out plan. Let's it be known that they love their other aunt and they love their uncle very much. But they did say at one point, if something had ever happened to me or their dad, that they were going to go live with Aunt Cindy because Aunt Cindy wouldn't kill them. And it was because of the food allergies and celiac disease. and that was said at a fairly young age. So I'm just saying, it was like, I don't care where my brothers go. I'm going to go with Aunt Cindy.
I'm going with Aunt Cindy.
I know where I'm going.
I won't be able to live. She gets it. She understands it.
Yeah, not that Jane and Johnny don't get it. It's just they forget, and then they're like, "Here." And it's like, "Oh my God, I'm trying to kill you." What was that? Aunt Cindy? I mean, Aunt Jane tried to feed you strawberries by accident one time, and she's, "Oh my gosh!" and like screamed.
And then she did nuts the next moment later.
Yeah, poor thing. And then she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Yeah. But when you have so many, Jane goes, she'd live with Aunt Cindy too. Well, that's true. So that's good. We'd all go live with Aunt Cindy if we could. That's
everybody wants to live with Aunt Cindy, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody come visit. I got a room.
That's right. We got to come up and visit. Okay, but it really takes a village to raise a kid in general, but I think kids with food allergies or kids with it takes all of us. And it's so hard for the families that don't get it, like the family members that don't get it. Like at least most of the time, our family members tried to get it. My mom had a moment where she didn't get it either. And then that was one of her biggest stories to tell people when they would ignore the parents, because we would run into it when we would be out somewhere, and mom would tell the story of the time that she gave her one cashew, and then we had anaphylactic reaction and they're 4 years old. Like and she was like, that baby had hives for a week, like after it, we kept having hives for, and like it just really sent their immune system crazy. But because she didn't have a reaction immediately, but then it was like, my tongue is funny. And it was like, oh Lordy, we're EpiPen, and then hives were happening. And so that was mom's big thing. And then after that, because we didn't have these when I was growing up as often, like you had a peanut allergy occasionally. I had one friend that had a peanut allergy. And then it's become unfortunately such a norm for so many people to have food allergies now. But for us, really, honestly, it was like the first introduction to them. And it was like, what the heck are we dealing with? So it really takes a village. Yeah. So thank you for my village and my daughter and my child and my sisters and my brother. So all of y'all, thank you. Okay, so that was it for the college episode. If there's any other questions that you all have, please make sure to send them to us. If you're going to be watching the replay on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell, all that good stuff. Okay, and we will have more information down below on our YouTube page. Definitely go ahead and subscribe to allergydragon.com. We have more videos and things like that happening soon. And if you have any other questions, remember the community questions, even if it's not about college right now, send them our way and we will save them for another time. And we will all see you later. So goodbye.
Bye.